Yes! They finally did it. A Transformers movie set on Cybertron, where the Transformers are actually the main characters. And after watching it, I'm pleased to say that this movie is phenomenal. Now I want to clarify that I'm not the biggest Transformers fan. I've seen all the live action blockbuster films, and I've watched a little bit of Beast Wars, but I can't remember much from that. But even though I'm not a hardcore Transformers fan, I still got very excited when I heard that they were making an animated film set entirely on Cybertron. And I held my excitement until I saw the first trailer. The first trailer for this movie really lowered my expectations and killed the hype that I had for this film. Not to mention the casting for this movie was questionable. It felt like another case of a fan service animated film, filled with a celebrity cast that doesn't really care about the source material like the Mario movie. And I don't hate the Mario movie, but to be honest, it was just meh. And I was really hoping that Transformers 1 wouldn't have the same fate. And it absolutely didn't. This film is leagues above the Mario movie, and it wouldn't be bold to say that this is the best Transformers movie. The actors, while yeah, they are well-known celebrities that appear in gigantic franchises like the MCU, they don't phone their performances in at all. After seeing this movie, I genuinely want to see more Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime, which I can't even believe I'm saying. This movie is proof that celebrity voice actors can genuinely be good and not just get used for promoting the movies. The thing is, Brian Tyree Henry as Megatron had me worried, since he voiced Miles Morales' dad in the two Spider-Verse movies. I thought all I would hear when Megatron speaks was Miles' dad, but I gotta tell you, it completely slipped my mind when watching this film. Not once did I subconsciously make the connection. I mean, Brian Tyree Henry has some incredible range. Same with everyone else in the cast, to be honest. They really flexed their range in this movie and it worked incredibly well. At the end of the film, I looked at the cast and it had me saying, wait, he or she voiced that character? Because sometimes I genuinely couldn't tell when watching the movie. The voice acting is just great, and while the first trailer and art style made the film seem directed towards children, I can assure you even at a mature age, the jokes will land, and they only feel like they're forced maybe once or twice. But yeah, this movie genuinely makes you feel emotion. You'll probably laugh, you'll probably feel sad, you might even cry. Comparing this to the Borderlands movie where I had a complete deadpan face the entire time is not fair. This movie is up there with my favourite animated movies of all time, probably even top 10. I still question how this movie managed to fit in so much character development, great world building, and just like uniqueness to each character in the average runtime of a kid's flick film, that being just over 1.5 hours. And no disrespect to Transformers Rise of the Beasts, as I think that movie had some cool moments and is a little overhated. But damn, with a runtime more than 20 minutes longer, Rise of the Beast struggled to make you care about half the characters. Like for example, Rhinox didn't say anything in the movie despite being one of the 4 beasts, which are literally in the title of the film. There isn't a single main character in Transformers 1 that I don't like, which is more surprising than you think, since they really took a huge gamble with these characters. Every other movie has portrayed Optimus Prime one way, and the same can be said for Bumblebee and Megatron. But this movie swings every character in a completely different direction, and I have to say, it just works. D16 or Megatron was my favourite, and while you might hear others say that his turning point of becoming Megatron was a little forced, I can kind of agree, but it still worked well and I seriously don't have any other notes for the movie. But D16 was the absolute highlight of the film for me. Megatron is often depicted as the perfect rival to Optimus Prime, this evil leader of the Decepticons that knows nothing but greed and power. But I never knew anything else about him until this movie. And much like the Joker film from 2019, the movie starts with the character being incredibly likable, and yet you know what's going to happen to them. You know that Arthur Fleck is going to become the Joker, and you know that D16 is going to become Megatron. And the film makes you hate that you know that. You want to see these characters thrive after all their hardship. You want to see Arthur pick up his feet again and again. But you know that at one point he's going to snap, otherwise the movie wouldn't be called Joker. It's the same thing here. And because it's done so well, it makes for some genuinely emotional moments. Throughout the movie, I grew to love the dynamic of Orion Pax and D16, and despite this film being made for children, I was actually saddened by how things turned out. And even though I may have sold you on Megatron, what about the rest? I mean, I know that I was personally skeptical of Bumblebee, since he's played by Keegan-Michael Key, and is intended to be the comedic relief. I thought he would just be spamming cringy one-liner jokes during action scenes, but he does genuinely funny things, and the funny moments are carefully placed where they don't affect the main message and heavier tone of the storyline. And while Bumblebee is very funny, to be honest the whole cast bounce off each other very well, and each of the 4 main characters got at least one laugh out of me. It's just such a step up from the other Transformers movies, where big robots fight and say cool lines before killing each other. And yeah, there were certainly cool moments in the live action movies, but it's about time that we had a movie that took a gamble by humanizing the robots and putting us on their world instead of putting them on ours. After watching this movie, I don't think I'm interested in Transformer movies set on Earth anymore. Cybertron just has so much potential, and the writers are free to make any sort of crazy scenes or set pieces they want, since they aren't bound to the realism of Earth anymore. Another thing I want to say is that this movie is absolutely beautiful. They could have easily made Cybertron generic and lifeless just so that the plot could move, but I feel like there was a massive amount of love and care that went into designing Cybertron and Icon City. And without knowing much about Transformers lore, this movie sparked my interest just based on the design alone. The animation is also great. I couldn't find anywhere that looked rushed or unfinished, and the style is unique but still sticks to the classic Transformers look, and that makes it something truly special. This movie is definitely one of the better animated films to come out in recent times, and I genuinely think that this movie is visually on par with films like Puss in Boots 2 and Into the Spider-Verse, which were both massive spectacles that everyone loved, including me. I mean, those movies looked awesome. I hope Transformers 1 doesn't get overlooked and is actually given the chance that it deserves, because just like Bumblebee, it feels like the people that made this are fans of Transformers and have poured their heart and soul into this movie. It is a must-see if you're a Transformers fan, and even if you just want a heartfelt story about 2 brothers, or if you just want to bring your kids and your family to see the latest animated film, I would still highly recommend this movie. And even though I just came out of the theatre, I think I can confidently rank Transformers 1 at a 92% on the tier meter. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. You know what? I wonder what IGN gave Transformers 1. Bruh.